My name is Nelly Minor. I work for World Vision, the East Africa region, as the gender advisor. Being a child-focused organization, we realize that gender equality plays a very big role in ensuring the well-being of children around the world. When there is gender inequality, girls and boys do not have equal access to education. They do not have equal access to healthcare. They are not well protected. We have incidences of child abuse affecting both boys and girls in a different way. Our goal is really to have children grow up in a safe and nurturing environment where they experience love of their family, love of their neighbors, and love of God.
The gender equality study emerged out of a few kind of motivating factors. The first was around trying to establish World Vision's contribution to gender equality in communities where we work. So often we might know that there's some good stuff happening and there might be some intended as well as unintended outcomes, but we're not always able to capture what those changes exactly are. A second motivating factor was a desire to strengthen the evidence base for our programming. So trying to show that the approaches that we use are based on proven methods and proven strategies to help reduce inequality. And then lastly, to improve our programming. So learning from what's already happening and looking at how we can improve for the future.
The Nossal Institute for Global Health was engaged by World Vision to explore whether and how its programs were having an impact on gender equality. The study will focus on projects in 4 diverse sites that look at different issues and take different approaches, and we hope from this to be able to see some overall trends in World Vision's programming so that we can identify their influence. The projects include the Ruhita Area Development Program in northwestern Tanzania, which has a really strong focus on promoting primary school enrolment and completion for boys and girls. In Bolivia, we're looking at a community health project that aims to reduce maternal and infant mortality among indigenous communities. And in Rajasthan in India, a program using self-help groups for women that's looking at health education and economic development in urban slum settlements. The first site that we looked at was the Marigat Girl Child Promotion Project in Kenya, and the project's working to prevent female genital mutilation or cutting, to enhance girls' access to education and prevent their early marriage. I travelled there with my colleague Dr. Kathy Vaughan from the Centre for Women's Health, Gender and Society at the University of Melbourne in November 2012.
Marigat is located in the Rift Valley, right between Western Kenya and Eastern Kenya, about 3 to 4 hours away from Nairobi, the capital city. I would say life is difficult, especially because we also have conflicts between communities. There is also a lot of prevalence of drought, especially when the rains fail, and this brings a lot of hardship to the local communities.
Most Kenyan communities, they are patriarchal in nature. The boy child is going to get a first hand. The families are willing to spend a fortune on the boy child, and the girl child is left behind. So it's very important that we educate the communities on the importance of valuing both boys and girls.
It's really brave of World Vision to ask an open question, so to ask us as researchers to explore whether their programs are having any impact on gender equality. It takes a strong organisation to open themselves up to this, and it reflects their real commitment to finding the answer and using it to improve programs. In Tanzania, we interviewed women's and men's groups, school teachers, local pastoralists and farmers, and church leaders. In Bolivia, we worked with Indigenous women's groups primarily, and also spoke to regional health officials and community members in Santa Cruz. And in India, we interviewed gender equality advocates who've been working on women's issues for decades. In Kenya, we worked with World Vision staff and a group of community volunteers, and together they'd had a lot of experience with interviews and focus group discussions, evaluation and baseline assessments. And so we had a really experienced and invested group of local people to work with. We had a week-long workshop with a local team who are going to be collecting information with us from the communities that are working with the Marigat Girl Child Promotion Project. The workshop was to ensure that everybody was familiar with the aims of the gender equality study and the tools, and that we had the chance to translate it into 5 languages, and also the processes that we were going to use to explore whether and how the World Vision program was having an impact on gender equality. After the workshops, we conducted interviews and group discussions with a range of people who'd been involved with the Marigat Girl Child Promotion Project: elders, chiefs, teachers' lobbies, youth groups, and male and female activists as well.
I became involved with a campaign against FGM in this community. First, because of the fact that I am a teacher. The world is changing, people are going to school, lifestyle is changing, economy is changing. We are no longer doing a lot of pastoralism, keeping animals. People are learning, people are going to school. What are we going to do about education? Because our children are dropping out of school. Girls especially are dropping out of school. And we cannot call ourselves an empowered community when we have only men. Yeah? We also have to have our girls going to school and finishing school.
Life within the communities, the 3 communities that this project serves, that's the Chams, the Pokot, and the Tugen. Life for a woman rotates around circumcision. So if you are not circumcised, it means it pushes you away from participation in some of the communal activities, even communal leadership.
It was very difficult first for me to say no, because I cannot just come out. The first thing, I am a woman, a lady, and in my community a lady has no say. That is the very first thing, and they rank as the 2nd class.
They were telling me you fear. They were telling me maybe you are not brave enough to agree to be circumcised. My grandmother even used to tell me, when are you coming? Why are you delaying? You will not find a husband to marry you from the community because you are not grown, because they think being circumcised makes you a grown-up.
When we started, the community were against completely the project because they couldn't imagine girls not being circumcised, because in this circumcision they associate the circumcision with so many things in the society, whereby if one is not circumcised, you are just like an outcast. You are not going to participate in any cultural practices in the society.
There have certainly been changes towards gender equality in Marigat district over the period that World Vision's been working there, and some of it is through World Vision's work, in particular the increased emphasis of communities on girls' education and the role that World Vision plays as an example to communities. Women are project leaders, they ride on motorbikes, they hold their own in conversations with men. This is an important exposure for communities as well. Across the 4 sites involved in the gender equality study, we've seen a range of complex issues. With the help of World Vision staff and community volunteers, we've been able to delve more deeply into some of the root causes of issues, things like early marriage and barriers to girls' participation in community life. We've been able to work really closely with local teams to start analysing the data and discern some of the trends around women's decision-making and patterns of gender-based violence. Gender equality change takes time, it's never immediately evident, and it makes it all the more important that organisations like World Vision remain committed to gender equality in everything they do.
Through each of the data collection phases in the 4 countries, we're hoping to strengthen staff capacity in monitoring and evaluation on gender issues, so they can be aware of some of the tools and some of the resources, some of the ways of asking and exploring those difficult issues around gender. Ultimately, we're hoping that the gender equality study will result not just in learning for us as an organisation, but ultimately better programming, so that the lessons that we learn are applied back into the field and back into projects that are addressing these inequalities.
It's like the women are torn behind. They want their girls to go to school, but they also want their girls to participate in community life. So it's like you are struggling with, it's education, this is culture, yeah, the two of them.
I still look at myself as my mother's daughter, as a Marakwet girl child, what I would wish for all the girls, not only in Marakwet, but all the countries that practice FGM and communities that practice FGM, is a world of freedom where they can exploit their full potential as far as education is concerned. And once educated, they will get the positions that they qualify for without any discrimination, whether you are a girl or not.
I want to become a minister for gender and social services in this country. That is, if I'll find myself there, that my dream would have come true. I think we have potential of doing great things because there is no difference between me and Hillary Clinton. It's only the color and the race.
So in 10 years' time, I would see that women will have become empowered economically, educationally, if we can work hard and still push the agenda of the girl child and do a lot of gender violence sensitization so that people are given the freedom to do things. I believe women can make a community more powerful than even men can do. Yeah.
Yes.